Alright, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're talking about how to add text and pictures at the same time. It's pretty much an essential of what you need to know when it comes to creating a web page, especially here with Weebly. Today we're going to be mostly talking about images again, which we pretty much went over on the last video, the title, and text. We might touch up on dividers, but really not so much these guys. I'll kind of have an overview on what they are and how to use them a little bit later, but what we really want to do is just get into it, start adding text, start adding pictures. So when it comes to a site like Weebly, they don't leave a lot of room for exploration. It's a very visual-based site. Anything that you make for it really requires there to be a very strong visual component to it. And when it comes to that, you really need to plan out your site. So what I have here is a Word document where I pretty much copied and pasted some text. This guy is pretty cool. He has a couple of Linda tutorials, and when you get a chance, I really suggest you check it out. The site is angryanimator.com, and I just pretty much copied and pasted from his tutorial bouncing ball. This bouncing ball tutorial. You obviously don't want to do that, especially when you are posting out your content, copyright reasons, wrong information. You usually want to make sure it's right. Sometimes you might want to take some stuff from another site, but just make sure you attribute it properly and make sure people understand where it's going. There's no mix and match. Or make sure there's no confusion between where your content is coming from. That can cause some problems, especially when it comes to lessons and how administration sometimes like to copyright lessons and sell them, things like that. So just kind of be careful about that. So what we first need to do is we need to make a page. So that's the easiest thing to do. Under Pages, we'd like to go ahead and just make a new one. And for right now, it would just be a standard page. I'm going to call it Bouncing Ball here under the typer thingy. And yeah, it was a little slow. So Bouncing Ball. Once I'm done with that, I'll hit done. And now I have a new page up on here, supposedly. I'm going to move that up a little bit higher so you can kind of see that. Right there. It's loading. And that should move over to where we're seeing it. So now that I'm on this page, I can jump back to build. And you can see over here I have quite a bit of basic things to kind of work with. So with this Word document, and the reason why I like Word documents mostly is mostly because before you put stuff out there, you really need to run it through another filter, have someone proofread it, but a lot of times we don't have that opportunity. So at least by making sure that you're typing it in something that, one, most people are familiar with Word, most people are familiar with Google Docs. If you know how to use a word processor, you know how to make a website. I don't know how to make that any more clear. For some reason, people are, once they hear that it goes online, they get kind of scared. I'm sorry, we're going to try to make this as simple for you as possible. So right now we are in my Word document, and the very first thing here that I've noticed that I know I want this to be the number one thing, so the number one thing goes over here into this big title with this picture of our coffee mug. Now later on we might come in and change that out, but for right now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to simplify the text to my styling preferences. So in this case here, for the most part, we're going to follow magazine rule styles. So you don't have to have perfect punctuation here. You don't have to have APA compliance, all the other fancy stuff that you need for papers. You really just need to be able to organize the information in a way that's simple for a student or another faculty member or someone that's coming to evaluate you in an easy to understand and legible manner. So in this case here, we're just going to do a simple magazine title case. And then what I'm going to do is take a look at my Word document again. So I notice here I have a pretty good block of text. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this here from word to word. I'm not going to worry about the picture just yet. I'll just copy this, Control or Command C. And then I'm going to take a text block here, and I'm just going to drop that in under this drag elements area. Again, just like with the pictures, if you notice where that blue line was, that's where that's going to set up. So I'm going to click on where it says click here to edit, and then I'm just going to Control or Command V, or right click paste, or Control or Command V paste the new text in. This is another reason why I really do like the Word document, is if you go ahead and you turn something into a link inside the Word document, if you copy and paste it, everything carries over. So what I want to do now is I want to format this text. It may look like something I want here inside of Word, but the downside to that is when you copy it from this to another platform, not everything's going to translate over the way you normally want it to. So what I'm going to do here is, again, my whole job as a person is to make sure that this is legible for another person to read. So in this case, this is kind of weird. I don't like that space there, so I like to give some extra space here, here, and this looks like that's super special. It looks like they're listing out items, so I'm going to use a list tool. There's no numbers out to the side of it, so technically it doesn't matter if it's an ordered list. So that means it's an unordered list. I'm going to come over here to my type tools and use bulleted list. Sometimes it's listed as unordered list. So kind of keep in mind that if you go to a different type of website builder, or if you just want to build sites by yourself, so using something like Dreamweaver or brackets, it might be called something else other than bulleted list. So as soon as I hit that, it's going to make some bullets. Anybody that's familiar with PowerPoint or Word, again, will understand what that is. And notice here that even though I ran spell check in Word, it didn't capture everything. So simple right click and adjustment will fix those. Because again, we're supposed to look smart to our students, and sometimes if they catch something or they get something that's off, you won't hear the end of it. So got these here. That's good. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. I think that's pretty legible. So I'm going to now tackle this picture. Picture's pretty cool. I'm going to kind of place it somewhere. So what I'm going to do is, just like we did before with the other pictures, I'm just going to click and drag that in. For right now, I'm going to put it at the bottom. I can put it inside the paragraph, but I don't know how that's going to turn out just yet. This is one of the strengths of Weebly with something like this, is that nothing is set in stone. Once I place it down there, I can move it, do whatever else I want with it, and it's very forgiving in that way. So I'm going to upload that image that I have, and so you can see here I have there ball one. Let the image finish uploading, and it's in. Okay, so now that it's in, I can start messing with it a little bit more. So looks like I don't have a whole lot of places where I can drag this. It's either top left, top right inside this text box, or down below in its own area. I think for right now I'm going to drop it inside the text box and let go. So it's going to load it into that spot. I kind of don't like where it's at on the right side, so if I click on it, bring up the image information, I'm going to align it to the far right, and then I'm going to make the picture just a bit bigger. I'm going to drag it down into the text a little bit more. And actually, I just saw something. See this blue box again? If I drag and drop it there, see what happens? Nope, I don't like that. So again, back inside the text box. That blow it up. Sometimes Control-Z is your friend, so I'm going to undo that. Actually, looks like I just lost everything. So yay. So we need to start over. So click again. Here. Copy. Paste. This is another reason why I do everything in Word. Sometimes when you work on the cloud, things just disappear, just like what you just saw. Kind of scary, I know, but that's why when you're doing any type of homework or anything else, you always want to make sure you have a copy. And since I have a separate version made in Word, I don't have to worry about everything just disappearing and losing 4 or 5 hours worth of work. So always take a moment to kind of work on those. So again, come back here. Now that I know I want the picture inside the text box, and it's back. Just can't seem to win. I like the way this one's laid out a bit better. For some reason I do have two, so what I'm going to do there is, see that little red X? If I come into this area here and just kind of hover over it, click there, and hit the delete button, bam, now I'm back down to 1. Now, I don't know what happened. It's one of those weird problems that you face when you're working with a program like this. You just kind of have to roll with it. So I'm going to go ahead and make the edits I want, far right, and I'm going to make the picture a bit bigger. and drag it down to where it's even with the most bottom line there. So I like the way that's laid out. I feel pretty good about that. So what I'm going to do is go back to Word, past the picture, and now I'm going to add in these guys here. So again, just highlighting, copy and pasting. So hit return, make sure it's spaced out where people can read it. So that's all I'm really doing here. Now if you notice that these guys are numbered, but if I were to want to add another number in, I would have to come in, type that out, and type whatever I want, then come in here and change all of them every time I want to make a change. The best way to get around that is to actually turn this into an ordered list, because if you look here, it is a list of items, and they are ordered by number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it has no flexibility. So if I were to highlight these guys here, and come over here to the ordered list, numbered list, versus ordered list, so many ways to call these things, be careful about that. Numbered list, click on that. If you notice here, it's going to go ahead and add running numbers for you. So that's pretty cool. As you can see though, it's counted every paragraph or enter as a line, but we'll go ahead and just clean that up real quick. So there, I'm just going to delete that. That was a bunch of junk. I'm just going to keep deleting until everything lines up the way they should. That looks good. 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 And that was not part of the list. And as you notice there, as I went back and tried to make a new line, sometimes it can be difficult to get rid of. So what I'll do here is I'll just hit that button again. And notice how the numbered list just kind of disappears, and now I can do whatever I need with it. That's the easiest way. So now if I wanted to add a new one, new list item, I can. And what it will do is it will keep track of everything for me. So if I wanted to move this up to number 2, it will automatically number for you. It's just a quick time saver. If you learn how to use this in Word or inside of PowerPoint or Google Docs, it can make life quite a bit simpler for you. Take your time to look it over, just like I got that mistake there, and go. So now that I have that formatted the way I need it to, I'm going to come back over here and grab this other picture. It's the one with the lines. I have that saved out already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another picture. So as you notice here, it's not really giving me the boxes that I would normally want with something like this. It's I can't seem to get it back inside of there. It seems like for Weebly you can only have one picture per what's the best way to put that? Per text item. I'm trying to delete this guy. So I think I have to click off, then back on. You see how they came back? Yeah. Now I can delete that because I screwed up. And that space, yeah, that space disappears. So what you need to do is you actually need to add another text item, because again, for some reason you can only have one text or one picture per text item. And since this is a tutorial with pictures, you're kind of going to have to need more than one picture. So if I click there, paste that in, and come back in, I can now drop in another photo and click. I'm going to upload that one with all the fancy lines. Bam. Okay. Great, pictures in, and I like that one to go to the right again. And this seems kind of important to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a title. So just click and drag that in. You can see where it's fancy and bolded. I'm just going to cut this, Command or Control X, and paste that in, Command or Control V. So now we are creating a hierarchy of information there. So you can see where everything most everything falls under Tutorial 1. This is a brief explanation. And actually, what we probably need is something here to let people know what they're doing at that section is what you will learn. There we go. How to animate the ball. Good. And then what you would do from here is we'll just go back to Word and find some more fancy stuff to move on. So grab this, another picture there, and paste. So you got all those. That's cool. And so what we have here is another drawing with some more text. So now that we kind of have the deal, and we know we can only have one picture per text block, I'm just going to go ahead and drop it into the text block underneath it. Grab this text here, paste that in, drop in another picture item, and get that one with all the fancy dotted lines, the numbered lines. And what I do is I kind of like how they ping pong left and right. I'm going to even them out just a little bit. So half there, half there. And so now I pretty much have a block of text. It's not one large wall of text. And that's something you have to be careful about, because a lot of these educational sites, that's all they do is they'll just have text, like Wikipedia. And it can be very hard for a person to kind of make it through that if it's just one giant wall of text. So what you want to do is you want to, what we call, chunk it out. And as you can look here, that's just too much for one person to have to read at one time. So if you chunk it out, it just makes it a little bit easier to read. It gives a place for your eyes to rest as it makes its way from left to right. And then it also gives you maybe a stopping point. So if you know you have to go do something later, you know where you can come back and pick it back up. Alright, that's pretty much it. That's how we add text and images to a page on Weebly. If you have any questions, just kind of let me know inside the group area. And happy website building.